Anthony Joshua.
Many fighters not named Canelo Alvarez that can pack 70,000 in the house, but this is par for the course for Anthony Joshua.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
World Anthony Joshua has become an icon in many ways for what he's been able to do outside of the ring.
Rank Jake Paul, if he wins this fight, that will put him in position at least to fight for a world title. Whatever you want to say about Jake Paul, we were all there.
A fight that's captured the imagination and generated huge interest. Two men who split opinion, a fight that splits opinion. It has to be the most eagerly anticipated 8-rounder that...
Anthony Joshua versus Jake Paul promises fireworks, blending Joshua's power, experience, and Olympic pedigree with Jake's speed, unpredictability, bold confidence, and fearless ambition inside the ring on fight night.
But this is what we signed up for, and he's very tall, but that means I can use my speed and my size.
Analysts debate tactics and expect explosive early rounds as both fighters arrive in peak condition, making this matchup one of the most intriguing events. Jake Paul enters this fight with a level of confidence that has surprised even veteran boxing observers. Recent commentary highlights how strongly he believes in his ability to meet the challenge and secure victory. Unlike some previous bouts, Paul appears far more focused, disciplined, and mentally sharp. Analysts following his preparation note that his mindset has become a defining factor, combining physical readiness with growing mental toughness. His confidence does not come across as reckless bravado, but as controlled self-belief built through intense training. Importantly, Paul seems fully aware of the scale of the task ahead. Facing a former heavyweight champion, he is not underestimating the danger, but embracing the moment as a chance to test himself and prove his legitimacy on the global stage.
He's very big. I'm here to shock the world, inspire the next generation. We're in the Heat arena. I'm a big Heat fan. Miami's on fire. This is my first pro fight, was in Miami against Gibb. I'm bringing that same energy.
BJ Flores, a respected boxing analyst and former professional fighter, offers a cautious assessment of the matchup. He acknowledges that Anthony Joshua may no longer be in his absolute prime and has endured setbacks in recent fights, but still believes the challenge for Jake Paul is enormous. Flores stresses that Joshua's size, elite-level experience, and refined skill set create major obstacles for a fighter who has yet to consistently face top-tier competition. He cautions that the timing of this bout could expose Paul to serious danger, arguing that a more measured progression against increasingly tougher opponents may have been a safer and wiser route for his long-term career development.
Losing to Andy Garcia, I don't think that means you're punchy. I think that means he's fought the best fighters, the best heavyweights over the last 15 years, and he's fallen short, of course, but he's a very, 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 he's a very big man. He's got that Olympic pedigree, and that makes the fight against him very difficult.
Does indeed, does indeed. What do you think is the upside? There's always an upside for this fight against Jake. I guess if I play sort of the viewer's perspective, what people are saying on Twitter, they're saying it's a win-win for Jake. You fight a two-time former heavyweight world champion and Joshua. If you get knocked out, it's no big deal. And if you lose, if you get knocked out, you get the respect of the public as well, taking the fight. If you win, you're the king. You know?
Yeah. The upside is, I think, I don't know. Like everyone's like, oh, I respect Jake. I was like, it's just crazy that you would have to fight, a former world heavyweight champion, 6'6", 240-pound gold medalist. That's the only way you get people's respect. Like, there's a lot of other ways. Like, and if you don't get everybody's respect, those people just don't really understand boxing. Like I said, I feel like this fight is a little early for Jake. Obviously, I would like to see him fight one heavyweight before this fight happened, at least one heavyweight, and then maybe see him, be in there with B, a guy world rated in any weight, cruiserweight, heavyweight, anything before you go into a guy like Anthony Joshua. It's just a massive difference on the size and the power and win everything. But I guess, if the objective is to make people talk and make people say, oh man, he's crazy, he's getting exactly that. He's getting what he wants. So to me, it doesn't make sense. this fight doesn't make sense to me at all, but I think it would be there down the road. I'd much rather see like a Canelo fight than an AJ.
Joey Knight offers a counterpoint to critics who question Jake Paul's legitimacy as a fighter. He points out that Paul carries real power in his punches, something that cannot be dismissed. Knight emphasizes that Paul's ability to compete seriously against professional fighters shows he is more than a novelty attraction. According to Knight, this combination of power and growing skill lends credibility to Paul's belief that he belongs on a big stage. It reinforces the idea that Paul enters a ring against Anthony Joshua not just to participate, but with a genuine chance to compete and test.
Be smiling and frowning at the same time. You must be smiling because it's happening and you're getting a mega payday, but surely you must be frowning at the fact that this kid and others out there believe that he stands a chance of even beating you. And look, if the stars align, maybe Jake Paul could close his eyes, he could put his head down, he could throw a punch sent from the heavens, and he could clip AJ on the chin with it. But even if he does, I'd put my money on it that it doesn't do anything. I don't think it does anything to Anthony Joshua, even if Jake Paul does manage to clip him, because Joshua's never been hard to hit anyway. But the difference between getting hit by a Jake Paul and getting hit by a Daniel Dubois is monumental, and even that is an understatement. And the difference for Jake Paul in getting hit by a Nate Diaz compared to an Anthony Joshua is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. What do you think AJ would do to Nate Diaz? What do you think AJ would do to Tommy Fury? Come to think about it, what do you think Francis Ngannou would do to Jake Paul? And look at how that went. So either way, what I'm saying here is quite simple, right? Jake's style is very, very easy for Anthony Joshua to navigate, and that is even if the skill set between the two were on par, because although he's getting better at them, Jake still makes many, many fundamental flaws. He leans over his front foot when he jabs, and that's a problem, because when you do that, you're always gonna have the potential to be countered.
Experts studying this matchup consistently highlight the enormous experience gap between the two fighters. Anthony Joshua's resume features battles with some of the most dangerous heavyweights of his generation. Even after a 14-month break from competition, Joshua brings years of experience against champions, knockout artists, and elite-level opponents that Jake Paul has yet to face. Analysts emphasize that Joshua's mastery of ringcraft, calculated movement, and ability to adjust under pressure pose challenges far beyond simple strength or speed. They warn that the outcome could depend less on raw athleticism and more on Joshua's composure, tactical awareness, and seasoned approach inside the ring.
Correct me if I'm wrong, right? And just to clarify, I don't class Otto Wallin as a very competitive fight. Every competitive fight that AJ is in from now until the end of his career, and has been in for the last few years, I believe has taken something out of him. Every time he's in a competitive fight, even when he's won, and I'm not saying taken out of him to the extent where he's no longer a good fighter, no longer can do anything, but every single one has taken one out of him. So let's say, for example, you go down the Tony Yoka route, and you can sell it as the 2 Olympic gold medalists and whatever. It's a lose-lose, mate. You're expected to knock him out. If you don't, then you go the distance. I think that's going to take something out of you. I actually think that this could be better prep for a Tyson Fury fight. Not just
mentally as well, because he smokes him and it looks great, and then he's confident.
This is what I'm saying, right? Not just from a stylistic boxing standpoint, but from the mental standpoint of the fact that if you go in there and you smoke Jake Paul, straight away, all of a sudden, it's headline news, it's massive, and as well as that, you're coming in off the back of something that's impressive, right? We all felt like the Francis Ngannou performance was really impressive, but it wasn't followed up with an impressive performance. So it doesn't actually determine whether or not...
This is worse. This is worse than that. I don't know what you're thinking, Lawrence, but the Ngannou one, you could at least say heavyweight. You could say that his pedigree. So we didn't really... While he was coming from a different kind of method of fighting, end of the day, he's still a champion.
Recent commentary from Bart Kwan, Joe Jitsukawa, Ryan Aim, and Steve Green highlights a noticeable shift in how Jake Paul is viewed within the boxing world. Once dismissed as a social media personality chasing attention through novelty bouts, Paul is now increasingly regarded as a serious and legitimate athlete. Analysts explain that this change is driven by the level of opposition he has faced in recent years, which has forced him to improve his technique, discipline, conditioning, and tactical approach. Observers note that trainers, fans, and commentators are beginning to acknowledge his ability to compete with intent rather than simply appear for entertainment value. This evolving perception has elevated the importance of his upcoming fights, as they are now seen as meaningful challenges instead of promotional spectacles. As Paul's credibility grows beyond his online fame, each matchup carries greater significance, serving not only as a test of skill inside the ring, but also as a continuing evaluation of his legitimacy and long-term future as a professional boxer.
I feel like the one that I was mostly from you was the Anderson Silva one. Where Anderson Silva had like one sick round where he's like, whoop, whoop, doing it, but Anderson Silva does and missing everything and cracks him and whatever. And then he just like the next few rounds he's back to like just getting his butt kicked by Jake Paul and walking around, doesn't look the same. But again, I don't think these guys are actually getting dropped to like faking. I think Jake Paul actually has that kind of power. I just feel like they kind of know the deal.
Okay.
Yeah, we're gonna fight. I make a lot of money. You make a lot of money, not as much money as me, but you make more money than you ever would. So you take it. It is what it is. But I don't know. Kind of sucks to see all these legends really like over the sport. Like, you don't want to see that. You don't want to see this guy's losing to freaking Jake Paul.
I will say I loved everything about the Tyson fight in the lead up, and then as I'm actually watching it, I'm like, this is actually fucked up. My bad.
Yeah, it's like senior. Even when he turns around, on camera in the interview in the boxing room.
Oh, dude, it was terrible.
Bro, then they show his ass. Oh my god, it was so dirty. Yeah, so it was like such a sweet moment too. He's hugging his son. Everything is cool. Turns away and sees his butt, and it's like, man.
That's not gonna not be funny though. No, yeah, you gotta laugh at that.
That's crazy.
So what's the least amount of money that you would have to take to get into the ring with Jake Paul and lose?
I mean, like, right now in my career, I wouldn't do this deal, dude.
Television personalities Jason Cundy and Jamie O'Hara have highlighted the unpredictable nature of the fight. They argue that uncertainty surrounds not only the outcome, but also the tactics Anthony Joshua may employ. Cundy and O'Hara suggest Joshua's camp could urge him to manage his power carefully, reducing unnecessary risk for both fighters. Such a strategy would change the usual dynamics of a heavyweight bout, possibly creating openings for Jake Paul when Joshua's aggression is tempered. The commentators stress that this unpredictability is a major factor behind the bout's intrigue, while also increasing the potential risk involved for both competitors.
I don't know, mate.
I think it's dangerous.
Yeah,
I genuinely think it's dangerous.
Well, but that's
putting a world heavyweight champion.
But then the cynic,
top 4 or 5 fighters in the world.
Then the cynic in me tells me,
who's never had a proper fight.
Right, the cynic in me straight away goes, I think AJ's probably going to be told, and I don't know this, don't go heavy on him first.
No, he can't afford to do that. Andy Joshua can't afford to do that.
Okay, but that's where I'm wrestling with my own mind right now. You asked me the question, how do I feel about it? I don't know what to make of it, mate. I seriously don't know what to make of it. I seriously don't.
It's a joke.
Yeah, I don't know what to make.
I'll watch it because
I don't know whether I will, Jay. Honestly, I probably will close the vote right now. I don't know whether I will. Honestly, I didn't watch. Was it Jake Paul that fought? Who did he fight? Mayweather. No, Mayweather. I didn't watch that. Who fought Mayweather? Oh, it was. I tell you, it was. Who was the MMA fighter?
Logan Paul. One that you didn't know the name of yet.
Logan Paul, right? I didn't watch that one either. Right?
I know, but Jake Paul's got a bit more boxing credential. He has.
What about McGregor? Who did McGregor fight? Did he fight someone? McGregor never made that up.
Yeah, I don't know. Where's your head at?
I don't know, man. They all
it's all over the gap. You gave Andy your number, and you gave him the top.
His name's Adam.
Adam, sorry. You gave Adam the number.
No.
He said 03717 22.
I gave him the sports.
You gave him the sports number.
No, but I don't.
Your head out.
No, I don't know. I don't know whether I will.
On the Wade Concept podcast, the hosts offered a detailed breakdown of the physical differences between the two fighters. Plemons pointed out that Jake Paul's natural fighting weight is around 90 kilograms, while Anthony Joshua typically competes near 111 kilograms. This substantial gap in size can have a major impact on punching power, durability, and how exchanges unfold inside the ring. The discussion emphasized that these differences are not merely statistics, but factors with real consequences during the fight. Analysts warned that such disparities influence both offensive and defensive strategies, stressing that Paul must carefully prepare to manage the physical challenges Joshua presents.
In making this fight, one, yes, that's the former heavyweight champ. Why is he fighting Jake Paul? And two, why is Jake Paul putting his health and well-being on the line? Because someone asked me on Twitter, wait, if Jake Paul gets knocked out, will his career be over? Buddy, his life may be over if he gets knocked out by AJ, because that dude put Francis Ngannou flat on his back, and I had never seen Francis Ngannou hurt before. Again, it's boxing, not MMA. Jake has a little more experience, but we're talking about a massive size difference. AJ's still relatively young, still relatively got something left in the tank, and he's only fought the world-class guys for the last 10 years. This would be Jake's not only hardest fight, most dangerous fight of his career. If Jake is doing this, it could signal the last one. I'm not even joking. This could signal Jake being like, I'm having one more of these and I'm out. Because where do you go from Anthony Joshua? We'll get into that part in a second, but the Netflix thing. We know that Anthony Joshua is an exclusive fighter to DAZN. Eddie Hearn has stated that multiple times. AJ, I'm pretty sure, even has a piece of DAZN. I could be wrong about that, but he signed a mega deal years ago with it. So for this fight to take place on Netflix would mean DAZN would say, you can have one of our biggest cash draws, and maybe in a revenue share thing, or maybe Netflix pays him some money, but you can have our biggest cash draw and we don't have an affiliation. That seems a bit unrealistic. But having said that, this isn't a report from anybody in the camp. This is not MVP saying it. This is not Eddie Hearn saying it. This is Mike Coppinger, who I guess has talked to people in the camp. But an independent source saying that they are finalizing a deal. Not that they're in talks. They are finalizing a deal. So this is, again, we're talking 1 yard line, first and goal.
Adam Catterall has voiced concerns regarding the choice to make this bout a fully sanctioned competitive fight rather than an exhibition. He contends that removing the exhibition format exposes Jake Paul to significantly higher risk. Given that Anthony Joshua's power and extensive experience surpass anything Paul has previously encountered, Catterall explains that exhibitions provide a layer of safety, allowing fighters to showcase skill and entertain fans without being fully tested by an opponent's maximum capabilities. In a sanctioned fight, however, there is minimal margin for error, and the consequences of mistakes are far greater. According to Catterall, this decision substantially raises the stakes and could have serious implications for Paul's career trajectory. Analysts repeatedly highlight the contrast between Joshua's seasoned expertise and Paul's relative inexperience. Joshua's years of competing against elite heavyweights have refined his timing, reflexes, and ability to anticipate opponents. Even with peak physical preparation, Paul faces a challenge that cannot be entirely offset by athleticism alone.
He's not fought in over a year.
Yeah.
Brutal knockout against Dubois.
Yeah.
Not the same AJ maybe of the past. He's 36. He's got a chance to earn £70 million, maybe to add to the 150 he's already got. Why wouldn't he do it? Because why would he want to maybe for 5 or 10 million fight Fabio Wardley, who's dangerous, Itomu, who's dangerous? Surely from an AJ point of view, it makes sense.
Makes sense. From any fighter's point of view, it makes sense because you're in. Listen, belts don't pay your mortgage, do they? And I know he's got a lot of dough anyway, but 70 million. If someone's going to throw you 70 million quid to fight a lad that struggled and lost to Tommy Fury, you're going to take it, aren't you?
Yep.
So from AJ's point of view, yep, I completely get that. From Jake Paul's point of view, you're leveraging your audience in the world of boxing and making a ton of cash fighting the former 2-time unified heavyweight champion of the world. Mate, most boxing fans would bite your hand off at that opportunity, especially if you throw in 70 million quid in the pot as well. I've no problem with the promoters. My problem is that it can't be a legitimate fight. Let's be dead honest about this, right?
Eddie Hearn said it will be.
Listen, there is no commission on the planet that can authorise that fight. He's a 2-time unified heavyweight world champion, still in his athletic prime. He just said he's 36. We're not talking Mike Tyson age of 50 odd here now, are we? Olympic gold medalist. He's had 13 world title fights, as AJ. 13 of them against the very best guys.
And could take his head off.
It is dangerous. Yeah. It is absolutely dangerous. Like I've just said, Jake Paul struggled with Tommy Fury. The levels between these two guys are ridiculous. The commissions cannot sanction that as a legitimate fight. There has to be a rule change. It has to be an exhibition, and then you can have a little bit of a move.
Hold on, Gav. Let's go back to proper boxing. I'm with Cats here. You know, this is a big story though.
Oh, listen, it's because it's AJ, because it's Jake Paul. It's going to do numbers and capture people's eyes, right? But there's no way it's a proper fight. It can't be.
Give me 6 pace again.
That's it for today's video. Stay tuned next time